Good morning. I think we need some more coffee in here for sure, definitely. So I'm Maya Dillon, and I'm proud to be your host and chair for today. Welcome to the Applied Intelligence Summit live. And it's a pleasure to be kicking off the next 2 days with the first talk. And I'm going to talk about what the future looks like, humanity in harmony with AI. So, there you go, the clicker works, so past the first bit. OK, so at this point, what tends to happen is that I regale you with a whole bunch of statistics around Austin and Texas and give you some facts and figures. But I know many of you are here who will actually sample the music scene at some point on your stay. But what I do want to give, or do want to do right now, is to give a great big thank you to the organizers for putting this event together and to thank Austin for the hospitality and accommodating us. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. OK, so many of you are going to be here for a number of different reasons. You have your agendas. Some of you will be coming here to talk about AI, like I am, or IoT, or other converging technologies. Others of you will be here to network and meet other people with the same passions as yourself. And some of you, if you're lucky enough, will be able to collaborate and maybe sign up that lucrative deal that you've always been wanting. But you may think that's why you're here, but it's not actually the truth. There is a deeper meaning behind all of this. We are actually here because it's the culmination of over 100 years' worth of hard work, dedication, innovation, and vision from some of those giants that we all have been influenced throughout our career and through our childhood. Now, normally, I could have put like 100 people's faces on here, but I picked 3 because we only have 15 minutes. But what I want to do is just to pick some very, very key thoughts that bring us all together today. So many of you will know the works of Isaac Asimov, and he presented or brought into the world the 3 laws of robotics. I do believe there are now 4. But in his mind, he viewed AI as supporting human beings, and whatever the scenario in completing a goal or an objective, human welfare was always first. The father of computing, Alan Turing, imagined a world where AI systems would actually not only compete with human intellect, but surpass it and help human beings in their day-to-day work. So many of you will be using your office to manage your agendas and probably Google to get here. And all of those are also AI-driven. So he imagined a world where there is a deeper collaboration between humanity and technology. And then Demis Hassabis, co-founder of DeepMind. Now, I share a personal vision with him, and I firmly believe that if we harness the power of AI properly and all the converging technologies, then we should be able to use that to fulfill our potential and solve some of the most challenging problems. Things like climate change and sustainability, disease eradication, and feeding a growing population. So, although these speakers and these visionaries have also explored the discord and dissonance that can happen with emerging technologies, they've always focused on the positives. And I want to share that with you today. And I think that's why we're here together today. And it's the belief that technology developed responsibly and ethically aligned to human values will allow us to reach our potential. So that's all great, but there are challenges, and we are not blind to them. You've all been influenced and responded to a lot of the challenges and commentary that you see in the news and media, and we don't have the time to solve all the problems around implementing various different technologies right now. But what I do want to touch on is the notion of something that I think drives at the core of implementing innovative technologies and having that deeper relationship, and that is trust. Without trust, that deeper collaboration with AI and technology will not work. So how do we actually develop trust? So this, many of you will be familiar with some of the pillars that are actually on there, is CC's AI Assurance Blueprint. Now, what do I mean by AI assurance? AI assurance is the means by which we use frameworks and processes guided by legislation and regulation to evidence and communicate the development of technology. Now, you will see that the reason all of these things are familiar is because it's been inspired and informed by a lot of the principles that have been pushed by national organizations, international organizations such as the UN, the EU, NATO even, and some of you will be familiar with the OECD's collection of mandates, AI mandates for a number of countries. And they talk about things like ethics, privacy, security, all the way down to technical performance. But if we are to actually make trust real, we need to put this blueprint in place. So let me just walk you through this very, very quickly. We begin with human-centric design. This concept, many of you will be familiar with, is technologically agnostic. Easy for me to say. The whole point of that is to create a solution that solves a problem for the user and mitigates any kind of risk. The 6 pillars that will have an impact when you come into the world of AI and other technologies will invariably inform how that solution is developed. So you go from left to right, where you have things on a macroscopic level, like ethics and legal and regulatory, all the way through to privacy, security, and safety, and technical performance. So there we are actually looking at things like algorithmic robustness. Now, if all of these things are evidenced and the development is noted appropriately, and I'm talking about everything from putting your frameworks in place and ticking some boxes and putting your commenting in your code appropriately, you will have some explainability and transparency in the way your solution is being developed. And of course, that means you have accountability too. I've put sustainability in there because there is that challenge of developing AI much more sustainably. AI is energy intensive to train, but we also want to think about how AI can actually solve some of our sustainability challenges too. Now, for that deeper collaboration, if we layer upon that an intuitive interface where you can communicate to the technology and there is that feedback that comes back from the technology in your system that comes naturally, you are able to create that fluid experience that feels very much akin to how you would communicate to another human being. With all of these things in place, you would hope we have some trust. Now, when I talk about these things, I often get, yes, well, now you're talking about assurance, we're talking about processes and bureaucracy. It's going to slow down innovation. Well, I'm here to actually tell you it actually accelerates innovation. Much in the same way that when you plant a seed, it needs to put down its roots before it breaks ground and flourishes. It's the same way with AI technologies. By making sure that your solutions are assured by design, secure, private, and technically robust, you actually accelerate time to market because you get that stakeholder buy-in. And the process becomes something that's explainable, and you allow yourself to be held accountable. Now, for those of you who have also come into the game a little bit late, you don't have to worry. There are processes and procedures and people who are experienced in this field who can certainly support you in getting the support you need for your organization. One of the key things I want you to take away from this slide as well, though, is whilst AI assurance can accelerate time to market and economic impact, there needs to be a breakdown between silos across these 3 sectors. Academia is fantastic for giving us that cutting-edge research. Businesses always look for that pragmatic solution that can provide economic value. And then governments, we need that guidance in order to ensure safety and well-being. We add those processes or build those relationships, then we further accelerate innovation. Now, I'm going to go through some proof points for you guys. So I talked about that deeper collaboration. You'll all be familiar with the game Tetris. Do not worry. Do not look at it too hard because I get frustrated when I see the blocks drop down. But essentially, this is a closed-loop system where the AI is able to do 2 things. Watch your interaction with the game, both physically and also your expression. And it adapts the way that it plays with you or to keep you engaged. So imagine where that would be really super useful, where the AI is actually working in coordination with you, in partnership, in a human-machine team. So a scenario, for instance, where a pilot is flying a plane, or a surgeon is actually carrying out a complicated procedure in the hospital. Or maybe you can use this as a teaching aid, a training aid. We are entering an uncertain future. There's lots of, innovation is happening at an accelerated fashion, and we need to upskill our workforce. So maybe this could be used to adapt and work with people's different learning styles and actually get them to reach their potential sooner. So we talked about AI assurance a moment ago, and many of you be thinking, yeah, I've seen that temple pillar thing. You've already pointed that out, and I've seen everybody else talk about it, but how do you actually make it real? This is how we at CC make it real. So one of the methods we actually use is simulation. So let me just walk you through the example we have today. Now, many of you will be familiar with this scenario. Some of you will have flown in on the plane and will leave in the same way. And you all know that it's a hectic, dynamic environment. Lots of things can actually, go wrong. And there are various different challenges that impact your journey. In this scenario, we are looking at an autonomous baggage system that is going to carry out 7 steps as part of its overall objectives, which is basically to collect baggage from the plane and bring it back. How we make AI assurance real is by taking those pillars that I showed you earlier and carrying out a risk assessment, essentially. Simulation allows us to actually apply those risk assessments at each stage of the journey that the AI is actually going through in completing its mission. And what it can do is that information can be used to look at multiple scenarios and feed that back to the algorithm as well, so you can develop that in situ. Doing that process means that you can accelerate the time to market, and then, of course, you don't have that expensive outlay for building unique infrastructure, and you remove any issues around safety and individuals if you were to apply this out in the real world. So that's how we make AI assurance real. Now, as we come to the final few minutes of this presentation, you might be all thinking, oh, that's great, I've seen 1 or 2 things here and there that could be useful to me and for my organization, but how do we scale this? So we talk about a world where we are actually going to be living the embodiments of the visions of the past, and scientists and inventors who imagined AI actually helping us reach our full potential. So I have 5 thoughts, 5 ways of actually achieving those objectives, and they all must be worked in situ. They have to happen in parallel. And it doesn't mean one thing has to succeed before the other thing is laid out. So we talked about ethical AI frameworks, and one of the things that's really important is that we need to have statutory footing in those ethical frameworks. There has to be actual accountability when implementing these legislations. It can't be just principle and hope to achieve something. I talked about breaking down those silos between public and private partnerships. By working together, you actually create more impactful solutions. And not just the break between those sectors, I also like to talk about how interdisciplinary collaboration, and that's between different markets, agri, retail, telco, you name it. People tend to sort of reinvent the wheel for each sector. Now, if we were to share insights, you'd be able to actually, again, accelerate your time to market and add to that economic value. Now, customer awareness, this is something that I think people don't actually emphasize enough. It is super important that we actually get feedback from customers as we are developing solutions that invariably impact them. Without that, we don't get trust. So during this process, we develop a form of transparency. And finally, as we move towards this global vision, it is very, very important that whatever solutions we actually develop are impactful at a local level. The value is there. Without making sure that whatever you create gives immediate value to the people within your geography or your market or demographic, you are essentially missing the point. It's through adding these cumulative interactions that you get that big impact that's greater than the sum of its parts. So I welcome all of you. You investors, academics, technologists, people from government, enablers, who are really looking forward to having a good 2 days of conversation and networking and collaboration. And one of the things I'd like you all to do is consider, when you are speaking to each other, just one question, have that in mind. How do we work together to accelerate innovation responsibly for maximum impact? Now, if any of you are interested in some of the things I've just shown you, please do check out our website. By the way, these slides are going to be made available to you, so you will have those to reference. But I would like to draw your attention to the Digital Infrastructure Strategy Report that we carried out or developed with ITS America. If you like the simulation, please check out our AI assurance simulation page. And if you want to know more about how we break down the complexities around AI assurance, please check out our white paper. So that's me. And as we move forward together, I want you to think one thing. If there's nothing else that you take away from today, it's to remember that whilst AI and all these technologies might feel like something that's accelerating and it leads to a land grab and we want to cut corners, the future doesn't belong to those who do it first. It's those who do it right. Thank you.